Please welcome to the stage Vice President and General Manager of Amazon Connect at AWS, Pasquale Di Maio.
Hey, great to have you here. Good afternoon. It's wonderful to have you all here at reInvent on the first day. Another great event that we've had so much to talk about. I'm going to dive right in and talk a little bit about how agent-enabled workplace is changing and how we're transforming that business with AI today. So, you guys have all been out there. Anyone here done work to try and enable agentic or generative AI in their business? Any of you out there done it? Okay. So then you're probably already aware that this is probably at least directionally correct. No one's really sure, but what we're hearing is 42% of these projects are failing. Now, that's a pretty high failure rate. I've heard as high as 95%. That's probably a little exaggerated, but the reality is that people are really challenged by what's happening here, and it's been very difficult for people to get the success they expect. But I think you all also have seen what the potential is, and some of the data shows that when these are successful, these human plus AI integrations, the cases where people really make them work together, they're seeing 70% boost in work completion. When you see a result like that, it tells you very quickly that you have a real opportunity here to jump what you're doing. Anything where you can go 70% is almost always certainly interesting. I'm sure some of you are in businesses where 1 or 2% is a massive win. What we've seen here at Amazon, and what we're here to talk about a little bit today, is the fact that we're moving from a world where instead of being AI as a tool, we need to make AI as something that's human-centered, a place where we're really bringing AI to meet you where you're at and meet you where your workforce is at. Get out of that space where people are having to transition back and forth, where you see some point maxima potentially and sometimes no advantage, into a world where every aspect of what you do is then being enhanced in a way that is actually helping that person and making them better at the things that make you great as a human and taking away the things that are mundane, boring, and don't bring that real value. So rather than building it as just a sophisticated tool, build it as something that's amplifying the human capabilities within the business and within the workflows that exist. So we're going to talk about a couple different things here. The first one I want to start with is an example that many of you may relate to, at least in some way. Imagine you're a marketer, and you are asking yourself, well, how come our most recent campaigns didn't hit the targets we had for them? Now, you're probably going to go and try and collect a bunch of data. You might get some CRM data, you'll get some campaign data, you'll try to patch that together. Maybe you'll get some customer feedback if you're lucky, and pull some reports, maybe financial reports. All of that is going to give you some insight. If you are then even more lucky, you might have some BI support. Maybe it's a half a person, maybe you even have a BI team. But in any case, then you're asking people to come bring you stuff. And then it doesn't quite what you want it to. You ask them again. By the 5th time you've asked, they're annoyed with you. No one's having a good time. And at the end, do you really end up with the data and the insights you need? Probably not. And certainly I've struggled with that myself. And so in a different world, one where AI is actually supporting you, you can actually ask the AI directly, hey, can I get some insights on why our Q4 campaign is underperforming? And those answers are then tailored to your business. They can understand the things going across all those data sets. And the AI never gets bored. It never gets tired of being asked to reformulate, to think about it a different way. It can even start to think about pulling in data from other places, maybe even external things like news or events that happen in the real world. This is something that is so much of an improvement over where you are today, where you're asking someone to help you and you're trying to communicate in ways that they understand, and you get frustrated, you wait for it, you get frustrated moving back and forth. Instead, enhance this into a way where you're not dependent on a human's ability to slice massive sets of data, but instead using AI for what it's great for, which is helping you understand these things and then bring it to you in a way as a human you can consume it. Another area that I'm incredibly personally passionate about is in customer service. They mentioned I'm the VP of Amazon Connect. Are there any Amazon Connect customers here today? Terrific. Well, thank you. First off, thank you so much. Amazon Connect is a customer service solution that folks use to run contact centers and other aspects of their business to engage with their customers more effectively. In a customer service example here, you think about Maria in this instance, and she's reaching out about a problem with billing, and it's kind of a confusing problem. So she talks at first where she would talk to a bot. The bot wouldn't really understand it. Maybe then she calls and talks to some form of interactive voice thing, but it doesn't really get it. Then she talks to an agent, repeats herself all over again, having the same conversation 3 times, not really getting satisfaction, and wasting a ton of both folks' time. It's not saving the company money, it's not helping Maria solve her problem, and most of all, it's not building a relationship between Maria and the company by any means. And so starting over all those times is no fun. But you can imagine a world where instead, when she calls in, she's able to actually talk to a generative AI operative, an agentic AI capable system that is understanding her problem, but also pulling data about everything in her history that understands that she did make a change to her billing address. It didn't work. She did have an upgrade recently to a new system. And it says, hey, you know, it looks like these are the challenges you're having. First, let me help you fix your billing address. That's not something where a person helps you do any better. I can fix that. I can double check and make sure the address is right. I can then write that to the system for you. While I'm doing that, then I'm going to hand you off to a billing expert, and that person is going to have all the context of what happened in this earlier part of the conversation and all the fact that we've verified you as you are Maria, and so I know I can help you. And I'm going to then take what was a complex question and convoluted, potentially conversation with Maria and turn it into actionable steps and then actually help that agent take actions while they're able to focus on Maria and think about what makes that experience human or even superhuman, given the fact that they are getting support the entire time through with this AI concierge that is helping both Maria and the agent at the same time, making them better together in ways that they never were before. Well, we see folks getting the advantage of this. Again, I quoted some numbers before, but I think these ones are really compelling. First off, I'll say 25% improvement in performance to complete the task is great. That's a direct savings in effort and time, which is always wonderful. But even more important, I think, is that the human beings are getting a 40% higher quality of work outcome. This is when it's done well, where you're using this integrated AI approach. It's not having the AI take over and write the work slop you're hearing so much about, but this is instead the AI is working in a cohesive way with the human beings to make them superhuman. So at this point, I'd like to dive in and talk about how we're going to think about two things today: the AI-enabled workforce and the AI-powered customer experience. And so to help me with that, I'd actually like to welcome Joe Skinnuckle from AWS in the Quick Suite.
Thank you, Pasquale. So let's dive right in. So let's think about your typical workday. What does that look like? How much time do you spend hunting for information that is hidden across multiple systems? How many times has that approval been stuck in email chains and you have had to dive in to sort that out? How about the number of times where you have to copy data from one system to another? Reality is that business processes today have been built taking into account the multiple systems that people have to navigate. These involve multiple decision trees, multiple data entry points, all of which need to be managed by users. Teams are working through multiple applications every day, and they live a fragmented experience. Good news is that AI has shown promise here. Over the last few years, you've seen multiple AI solutions, multiple point solutions that jump in to save the day. So whether it is a better email writing assistant in your email system, or whether it's a better financial modeling software within your finance team, or maybe just something that lets you find the latest information for the next customer meeting. What you'll find is that these solutions are making impact in terms of saving time. However, they've created a new kind of problem, and that of application and AI sprawl. So what you're finding now is that organizations have different AI solutions for different needs. They're managing dozens of these disconnected AI point solutions. Finance teams, marketing teams, sales teams, operations teams, everybody has a solution. But each of these solutions comes with a separate experience. It comes with separate licensing, separate user and change management that is required to onboard these, separate procurement, and of course, the need to manage data and governance across all of these systems. So what turned out to be an effort to simplify makes things more complex. Your employees are now context switching across both applications and these assistants and AI agents, none of which can see the full picture or work seamlessly with each other. Which is where we believe that a fundamentally different approach is required. One where AI agents are intelligent orchestrators that can stitch together the context, understand that, and then take action as needed. AI agents are not just point solutions, but form a unified system that can then break down these silos that you have and make sure that they can bring together workflows. AI anticipates your needs in this case. It knows what you would have needed to know, and then make sure that it can take the action on your behalf. Recognizing these challenges, we started thinking about who do we build this for? What are we doing here? And the thing we saw is that we are building this for the end user. Remember, this is the end user who does not code, who does not build automations, who does not build dashboards. In fact, all a knowledge worker wants to do is to do their job easier, faster, smarter. What they want to do is to make sure that they are not doing tedious, tiring work day in and day out, but get to more strategic items that they can do while some of this grunt work is just done for them. And what we also found is that when you look at what people want to do, it's typically a few different things in a sequence. Number one, people want to find information. Remember, we talked about emails and how to find information across those emails. Sometimes you're hunting for that particular email which gets you the right insight. Once you find that information, what you're doing is that you are taking that information and analyzing it. Sometimes you need to go dive in a little, sometimes you need to dive in a lot. Sometimes you even have to go talk to a coworker, whether it's a finance person or a supply chain expert. So an expert in some domain who's going to tell you more, who's going to tell you whether the way you're thinking is going to be the way to go or not. And after all of that, you take some action, because you have to convert whatever you found into an email, a presentation, or maybe you're kicking off a process. All of that together makes the end-to-end cycle work. Now, different users have different proportions of this, but they all do some form of this sequence. Now, taking all of this into account, our fundamental belief is that the way we need to work here is to have AI agents work as orchestrators that can do the work for you. And this is where this vision of eliminating agent sprawl, of bringing together context that is required, and empowering end users, non-technical users, with the tools they need to help them go faster and smarter is why we built Amazon Quick Suite. What you're seeing here is a unified workspace that brings together context across all of these information sources that you work with, as well as agents that can then use that context in order to do things for you or do things with you. So when I say context, I mean information that exists in your enterprise systems. So think systems like SharePoint, Confluence, where you have enterprise information that is stored. You also have metrics. So think about information that is in your databases, data warehouses, data lakes, numbers and dashboards that convey the information on a daily, monthly, weekly basis. You also have team information, because not all information is centralized or with IT. Every team has a way of working. It might be in documents, it might be in team SOPs, and they need to be brought together because that's important context. And then, of course, there's internet information. So everyone looks at what's going on before they make that final determination. These different pieces of context, along with agents in the Quick Suite include agents for insights, agents for research, agents for automation, so that you can then take the insights and the context and then work with it. Now, what's more important is that all of this come in one place. But of course, it can't be that you're always working in the Quick web application. So you can take Quick with you, whether it is in your Microsoft Office 365 applications like Word or Outlook, whether it's in your favorite messaging app, or even in your browser, or on the go on the mobile. So Quick brings all of this context with you so that you have that with you as you go and need to make decisions. Quick represents a fundamental shift in how information workers work with their context and with each other. Think of this as having an incredibly intelligent teammate that is working with you and that has all the context, and that is also able to reach out to get external information as required. Now, with Quick Suite, you can ask questions and get clear, concise, and comprehensive answers across all of that context that we just talked about. You also have teammates, agentic teammates, so for research, for insights, for automation, because once you get that piece of information you wanted, you probably want to deep dive a little bit. You probably want to go and research more into that, and Quick lets you do that. You can visualize and analyze data, all from Quick. And of course, you can, once you know that insight, once you have the research, you can take that action, whether to send it out as an email or kick off an automation. Remember, we said knowledge workers don't want to do some of that tedious work. That's where Quick lets you write those automations really easily and then get going. What's more, all of this is in a way that can be easily rolled out to users. So Quick comes with permissions and governance and other controls that are required when you think about rolling this out in an enterprise. So it doesn't matter if you want to roll this out to a team of 10 users or you want to roll this out to hundreds of thousands of users. You have the controls and the capabilities that you need in order to roll this out. Now, one important piece here is interconnectivity, because like we talked about earlier, the context you need to make decisions is not all in one place. So across a suite of native connectors, as well as technologies like MCP and OpenAPI, Quick allows you to connect with your data and information. It doesn't matter if it's in a third-party system, so think of an application like Box, where you have your information, or if it's in a custom system that you have created. But also, apart from the context, you also need to connect to the actions and invoke agents as required. So not everything's going to be built here. So you might have systems where you have something as simple as sending an email via Outlook. That's a simple example. You might have custom agents that you've built in your company, and you want to invoke that via MCP. All of that becomes possible because of the breadth of interconnectivity. Now, the thing to understand here, a simple example would be, let's say you have your information in Box. You can go and ask Quick to retrieve that information, reason that against the information from your day, so let's say from your Outlook calendar, compile a set of notes, maybe create a presentation in Canva. And you can do that end-to-end flow within Quick, and then ask Quick to send out the links to that presentation to your coworker. See how we brought all of those systems together. Even though information resides in all those systems, you've brought it together in one place. Now, let's take a look at a few examples to put this all into perspective. So first, let's imagine that you're asking a question of Quick in order to prepare for a meeting where you have, let's say you're going to look at your Q3 performance, and then you want to understand the areas of opportunity and what might you want to look at. When you ask this question, that question is going against all of your enterprise context. So remember, your enterprise data in SharePoint, it's your files that you've probably uploaded yourself or your team has uploaded, metrics and dashboards. So bringing together all of that in one place. And it's not just a search, because it's agentic search. And what Quick is doing is putting all of that together, reasoning, and then coming out for you. What it does is actual numerical analysis sometimes when it's needed to come back to you with a summary that you can then use. All of that is also cited across the sources, so you know where all of this information is coming from. Now, once you have something like this, it's great, but you might want to deep dive, right? So the next natural step is, hey, I've got my summary. You could send this out as an email to the team. That's very well possible. You just have to mention that. But let's say you wanted to deep dive, and you want to look at where your tickets are and what the feedback is from different teams that work with you. So open support tickets in this case. When you do that, you can go against the systems that you operate in. So it doesn't matter if it's Asana, Jira. In this case, you're seeing an example from ServiceNow. It is using credentials that you've provided, so your permissions are being applied, your permissions are being respected, and that information comes back. Quick is able to reason through that and then, again, get you the information in a way that you can action. Again, if you want to shoot off an email to the team, you can do that right here. You don't have to switch context. All of that is available for you right there. Now, remember we said there are tedious tasks that sometimes you have to repeat, because let's say you did this well for that customer, for that weekly or monthly meeting. Great. Now, next time you have to do this, you might have to run through the same process. This is literally the story that is being repeated across organizations. So Quick offers a product called Flows that allows you to go and do this just by simple natural language. You can describe what you want to see automated, and then ask Quick to go automate that. You don't need to be an automation developer in order to do this. All you had to do was to simply specify what you wanted to see. And once you do that, you will find that Quick is generating that flow. So a flow is a sequence of steps. It can be anything from searching something like ServiceNow that you saw, to searching the internet, reasoning across that, so you can have reasoning steps in there, and then you can ask it to take an action. And these flows can be scheduled so that next month, when you have to do this, you don't have to go do this all over again. It just does the work for you. Now, we spoke about speaking with experts. One of the things that Quick offers is also research. With research, you have the ability to invoke what is a PhD-level researcher in here. So you can go and say, compare our results to industry benchmarks. And when it does this, Quick is going to go against the web. It can go against specific files you've uploaded, Quick Suite assets, or now you can also have trusted sources like S&P Global, FactSet, IDC, all included in there. And when it comes back with the results, it also shows you why it made a statement. So you can go to a specific statement and understand why that claim was made, why that statement is in that document in the first place. Quick also includes charts and graphs so that you can visualize some of this, all without having to do that second-level deep dive yourself. So all of this is available, and you can even iterate on this. So if you have a specific comment in there, you can go mark it out, and then Quick will go and then iterate on that for you. All of this is changing how we work. So you'll see that now you no longer have to be trapped in that sea of emails in order to get to an outcome. You don't have to go hunting for that information. All you need to do is to ask the question and get comprehensive insights across all of your context. Because it's all interconnected, it's all available in this one place, and it's available on the go as you go. So now, Quick is transforming the way that we work, but let's hear it from a few customers who are now starting to live this transformation in their own lives, in their own organizations. So let me welcome a few of our customers on stage. Well, first off, thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. I'm sure the audience will love to hear from you. So let's start off with some quick introductions.
I'm Céline Laurent Winter, Vice President Connected Vehicle Platforms at the BMW Group.
Nice to have you, Céline.
Perfect. I'm Vishali Goyal. I'm a Senior Director of R&D IT at AstraZeneca.
Hi, everyone. Nitin Ramachandran. I lead the global data and AI practice as the Vice President of Data and AI at 3M.
Well, first off, thank you all for being here. I think this is great to kind of hear firsthand from you about your experiences with AI and transformation. Vaishali, why don't we start with you? And staying current with medical research is incredibly important in the pharmaceutical sector. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how Quick Suite is delivering real value in the trials and MVP that you're running so far?
Yeah, perfect. Before Quick, we actually seen in the clinical life cycle a heavy amount of our practitioners spending copious amounts of time finding data, finding research. Oftentimes, they're looking at market research and insights, but they can't find it so easily. And they would sign up for alerts, and you get email notifications, but you guys know how that gets. It's very taxing. And what happened after we engaged with AWS and Quick, we were actively able to automate all of this in a much faster way. So now we were able to take all of this information that they would be sourcing from various external information and actually bring it to life in a concise and consistent format that was actually tailored to give our leadership and even the TAs and the different practitioners that we have there the quick insights. And one thing that we also noticed that with our hematology therapeutic area, which we started with, they've been actively able to now add insights to this as well to augment the agents. And that's benefited us greatly. And for the future, we're looking to roll this out to all the therapeutic areas within AstraZeneca in 2026.
Thank you. Can you maybe speak a little bit about the specific capabilities and how you're using them?
Sure. So we actually are utilizing 3 of the quick features. Specifically, we are using flow as well as research and as well as automation. So with Automate, we are actively able to scrape across all those different external data sources and bring that to life. We are also able to do it in a real-time fashion, so it synthesizes that data. And then with research, we're actually able to map it against our actual AZ internal needs, and we're able to do a compare and contrast. And then with Flow, we're actually able to distribute it. So as you mentioned before about sending out kind of a concise email, we're able to actually send that out to leadership again, but also give this to our practitioners. And one thing we're very fixed on is we're not taking away any capabilities, but we're actively enhancing their ability to find information much faster.
That's really cool. I think I love how those 3 capabilities come together for your users. That's really good to hear.
Yeah.
Celine, why don't we switch to you? And first of all, thank you for being here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the Neue Klasse initiative and why that's so important for BMW?
Absolutely. Well, the Neue Klasse stands for electric, digital, and circular. Regarding digital, we have a lot of great new features. The panoramic iDrive is probably one of the highlights with the enhanced assistant functions and the BMW Intelligent Personal Assistant that anticipates our customers' needs. We also improved our over-the-air software updates, making them more convenient, and our customers can even personalize their BMW via the My BMW app even before taking delivery. So it's a lot. The Neue Klasse is a truly software-defined vehicle with a new electronic and software architecture, a state-of-the-art foundation for mobile services, real-time interaction, deeper access to functions, with a broader range of remote services and personalization, as well as new connectivity options inside the car. So, with a lot more Neue Klasse cars connected in the world, with new features, sending and receiving more data, it has become absolutely crucial to scale in an efficient way. And it's about choosing the right architecture and also about automating our workflows. And it's really important to accelerate our time to market and reduce our costs.
Well, that's really cool to hear. That's a lot of data flowing around.
Yes, it is.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about how QuickSuite is helping you think about those Neue Klasse processes and such?
We are developing software inside the car and in the cloud in a distributed global context. For instance, the Connected Drive backend offers premium digital experiences to more than 24 million connected vehicles. We interpret 184 terabytes of data traffic per day and manage billions of requests. The BMW software, the BMW Group software community has more than 12,000 software developers working on 500 million lines of code with daily builds. It shows how complex it is to develop a premium digital car. So we have been working a lot on automating our workflows with AI and with generative AI, not only to reduce the costs, also to enable our software developers. Successful examples are, for example, our cloud bot analyzing or screening our cloud accounts to make optimizations, for example, for operations or to reduce the costs. To visualize the results and the findings, we use Amazon QuickSight. And we also use, for example, AI to chat and visualize our data that are stored in the Cloud Data Hub, the BMW Central Data Lake. Since 2 years, we have a QuickSight first strategy for our consolidated data assets stored in our AWS Central Data Lake. And in the 2 last years alone, the numbers of BMW QuickSight users increased 5-fold. So now, since the launch of the new AI features in Quick Suite, we have been actively evaluating the new capabilities. My department has been one of the first to evaluate Quick Suite. What we have done, for example, with an AWS team is to evaluate how to automate all the tests, the full test cascade, from requirements to test specification, generation, execution, and then evaluation. A service like Quick Suite can help us there, since we can use it to trigger on events, and as it's serverless, we only pay for when we use it. And what I like also a lot is that it's low code, so it makes it easy to use and fast to prototype. But we still have to gain more insights on the cost and benefits, and we'll adjust our strategy accordingly.
That's great to hear. And one of the things you pointed out is that it's not just the time, but it's also the fact that consistency of results, right, and being able to repeat this is very important. Thank you for that. Nitin, let's switch to you. So we heard about research, we heard about development. I know you're tackling a whole different type of problem, sales effectiveness. And I was amazed to hear that you have over 100,000 one-on-one meetings that you're managing across the team. So great to, let's jump into some of the insights from you.
Yeah, that 100,000 number honestly was a head scratcher for me too. But when you understand the context of 3M, I'm sure that when you think about 3M, first thing you think about is Post-it notes and Scotch-Brites and so on. But a large part of our business actually is selling very complex material science solutions to customers across the globe, right? So you have a complex product, you have a complex process across a global footprint. And that's why you have so many of these sales conversations that happen, because it's a long sales cycle, right? So for us, as we were looking at it, we were trying to solve two problems. The first problem was one of content, right? When you have a large organization that has a storied history like 3M, you have application sprawl, right? And so essentially our sales team, they have to go through multiple applications to collect data, to collect insights, from CRM systems to databases and multiple applications. So they were spending so much time trying to pull all of this information together. And in fact, more time was being spent on pulling information rather than actually analyzing information. The second problem was context, right? So we have the sales team that is dealing with so many customers over a long life cycle. And so there are behavioral interventions like sales coaching that's necessary. So for sales leaders, it was more about, first, it's hard to find this information. And on top of that, right, they have to analyze the information. So the second part, what we wanted was, how can we provide intelligent context so we can elevate the quality of these coaching conversations? So across those 100,000 one-on-ones, we have to do both, right? And that was essentially what we were trying to solve.
Well, that's a tough problem. So can you share a little bit about how Quick helps with that whole process?
Yeah, initially I think we did a lot of experiments with a lot of AI tools. I know you talk a little bit about, the first wave of AI and, kind of the agentic sprawl that was happening, and we have a lot of that, right? So we had disparate tools which were trying to kind of be intelligent, but within the context of a system. So I think that's when we started working with the AWS team early in the, the Quick journey. For us, the biggest part was unified context, right? So by leveraging the browser plugin feature, we could switch context very easily. We could use quick actions to go to a database or to the CRM platform, gain insights, and bring that back. But we could do that as a plugin within the context of whatever web page the team was browsing on. So if they were on a website looking at complex product data and trying to compare products, if they were on the CRM system trying to get insights about kind of their sales plan and map sales effectiveness, they could do that. If they wanted a summary of their sales targeting plan and how that would work, that could be done as well. And all of this was filtered into a sales coaching application, which was across the sales team. So this was another bespoke experience for the sales leader, so they could do it. So just by leveraging few of the capabilities of Quick, we were able to kind of create a unified experience that essentially was able to take away the application sprawl problem, but also bring in coherent intelligence that help both the sales team as well as the leaders in driving a better plan forward.
Right. I also love the fact that you're using the browser plugin, so you're actually taking it to where the user is without them having to navigate to a certain place.
Exactly.
That's great. So I know, you've all shared with where you are right now in your journeys, but I'd love to get maybe a couple of lines about what's next, and maybe starting with you, Celine.
Well, in just a few weeks from now, we will introduce the new, the enhanced intelligent personal assistant at the CES, setting new standards for in-car intelligence.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yes, it is. Large language model technology inside the vehicle, setting new standards for voice interaction, more intuitive, more natural conversation. It shows the combined innovative strengths from BMW together with AWS and Amazon, uniting cutting-edge automotive expertise with state-of-the-art cloud and voice AI capabilities. And at the organizational level, well, we need a unified open platform to automate our workflows at scale. And that's why we keep working on our potentials, and we'll give you the feedback about Quick Suite. And I can't wait to see what my teams will build in the next week. And
All right.
I'm excited.
Thank
you for having me.
Well, Shelley, how about you?
Yeah, so I've been reflecting on this a bit. And really, truthfully, to be pioneers in science, you need to be pioneers in technology. We know that technology is going to be kind of the force. So we're really excited to kind of see the emerging tech that's coming, continue to partner also with AWS, because I think this is a really good strength that we have in trying to actually accelerate a lot of the R&D pipeline as well. So I'm really excited for that.
Thank you. Nathan, I know you're delving into other areas.
Yes, I think for us it's about vertical expansion, first of all, within the product suite, right? So within Quick Suite, as we look at it, we're only using a subset of the features. So as we think about our sales and marketing functions, it's about how do we leverage research, how do we leverage automations to kind of grow within that domain. But a company as large as ours, there's huge opportunities for automation across the spectrum, whether that's our complex supply chain, our finance and enterprise functions. There's huge opportunities for us to leverage, the automation capabilities to kind of drive efficiencies into our business processes. So there's loads of opportunities for us.
Loads of opportunity. Well, thank you all. Thank you, appreciate it. And a big round of applause for our panelists, please.
Cool. Well, hopefully that was insightful and you got to see some real customers using the tools and getting improvements. I think that's always far more compelling than just hearing about the products, but there's always a good balance of both. So I'm back up here to talk about the area again that's near and dear to my heart, which is AI-powered customer experience and just customer experience in general. When I think about the experience you probably still have sometimes, hopefully less than you ever did in the past, it's one where you call in and you, at this point, have grown frustrated with the experiences, and you are saying things like, hey, operator, can I talk to a person, human being? And, can I talk to your manager? You may have learned words like, can I talk to a retention specialist? Anyone out there heard the term retention specialist? It's not something a human being should know, right? And when you got there, every time it was, let me tell you my problem all over again. And so while things have improved a lot, we're still facing some of these challenges. In the world where Connect customers are today, though, they really are building solutions that bring all the context from the beginning to the end. And with the launches we have here at reInvent, that's becoming even more powerful. So if you think about a customer and agent really being on the same team, treating each other like friends, as they would treat a friend, I should say, is probably the right way to think about it, that is fundamentally different. And the AI can help enable that because it can bring context to all of that and let the two people focus on the human aspect of it, and particularly the agent, getting away from that feeling that they're using tools and heavy lifting and trying to get things in the right order, and back into an experience where they're passionately engaged with the customer, showing empathy, showing understanding, because the AI is making the solution technology recede and bring forward the things they need to solve the problem. Let me give you a quick example. Hopefully this didn't happen to any of you on your way here, but I'm confident at least at some point in your life you had a flight delay. And in that experience, you probably found out about it when it was already too late to do much about it. And at that point, you then tried to maybe use the app, maybe you tried to use the chat maybe tried to sell you something instead of help you. And then, of course, you went through and eventually you probably ended up calling somebody to try and get them to help you. And when you did that, you probably started all over again. And at that point, what happened was maybe they solved your problem. Now, imagine a different world where when you call in, immediately you get the question, I see your flight's been delayed. Would you like me to try and book you on the next one? And then all of a sudden that changes fundamentally your understanding of what's happening in this interaction and your willingness to engage, because you can see this thing is not just giving you an answer that's rote and useful to no one because it's designed for everybody, but instead it's personalized to your needs and it's predictive of why you're trying to call. And the technology to do this exists today, but unfortunately up until now it hasn't really been brought to bear to help you achieve those outcomes. And so we're working with our customers to do that right now. Now, the next step beyond that is honestly to, instead of saying, hey, I see you called, how can I help you? Oh, is it because your flight was delayed? But instead move to a world where I know you're a business traveler. You probably need to get there earlier. I can predict that there's likely a weather problem. Maybe I actually want to pre-book you or offer you the option to pre-book on a flight earlier than the one you were going to take. So instead of getting you there 6 hours late when you're not going to make your meeting, I get you there 6 hours earlier, and maybe you actually get to make your meeting. And of course, you can always say, no, I don't want that. But it gives you the opportunity to then be ahead of the problem instead of behind it. And so this is a world where you are not just getting a better outcome for the customer, it's also a faster outcome, it's a cheaper outcome, and it's a customer sensation that feels like they're understood and cared about by your brand. And so these are the things we are delivering a product to enable you to do. And this solution that we deliver is based on 4 key things that we are really focused on at this launch. And those 4 things are being powered by literally 29 new capabilities we launched this week. It's an insane number. I had to memorize it like the states, Alabama, Alaska, agentic AI, agent assistance. It just flows right off the tongue. So with that in mind, the first area I want to talk about is action with AI. And if you think about it, that is the big promise of agentic AI, is that it can actually act on the behalf of the customer and on behalf of the company to do this. And so with this launch, Amazon Connect bravely moves into an agentic world. And you can actually do an 100% agentic implementation on Connect and never have any human beings or agents. We don't think that's typically the right solution for someone, but that's what's capable of doing that. You can also do a fully human one, and we probably think that's probably not the best either. The nice blend of those two is really where you want to be. But with this new capability, you can orchestrate agents, and we are bringing the capability to bring third-party agents in as well. And so we're giving you choice, which is something I don't see anyone else really doing in the industry the way we are. And so this really fundamentally changes the way you implement agentic. It means you can enter that space at your own pace and move forward. And the great thing about this is these agentic upfront self-service capabilities feed directly into the experience of the agent, and even after the agent has completed it. So you think about an agent sitting there trying to help a customer. You don't want them scribbling on Post-it notes or trying to take notes in some other thing or going and opening up a task to follow up. What you want them doing is listening to the customer and helping them. And so in the background, we can actually take all the context from before, plus what's happening in the conversation right at that moment, and even data from previous to that, and give that right to the agent and the right things to do, the right things to say, and also, meanwhile, in the background, we're creating tasks to follow up. We're listening, and say someone says something as like, I want to change my password. Actually, the only reason I want to do that is just so I can cancel my subscription. An agent who's well-trained might still say, okay, let me get that password done. I know you're counting me on average handle time. How fast can I do my job? Well, obviously, that's the worst-case scenario. Instead, what you want to do there is you want to say, okay, I'm going to help you, but I'm also going to try and figure out why you want to cancel. I'm going to try and show you the value of my product. And with AI, we can even get ahead of that and say, hey, we should look at what happened well before we got to this point, well before the person got to the point where they took all that effort to contact you so they could cancel, and show them the value of the product at the time when it makes a difference to keep them as a customer. And so this is key to how we think about elevating the workforce, is every step of the way we're helping them be more human, do the things humans are great at, putting them in that place. So maybe an agent maybe even should have contacted them a while ago and helped step them through what they needed to get the value out of it. Oh, I noticed you haven't been using all the capabilities we have. Let me help you with that. Okay, and so in order to do this, you need data. Folks here, I'm sure, if you've done any of this work, you've discovered that getting data out of your systems is really hard. Almost nobody I talk to says, oh, we've got the data problem solved. Well, in Connect, what we've done is we've created a set of capabilities built right into it where we can pull data from all over your enterprise. We break down those silos. We bring, whether that be order data, claims data, customer data, pull it into one place. We can store it there for you. It can be the source of truth, or it can just be a clearinghouse for you to have incredibly high scalability and performance and get that information into the hands of your agents and into the hands of your AI to then make much better decisions and take action. This is a game changer for folks because this is how you actually build relationships. I talk about this. We have built merging capabilities that are leading. We have enrichment capabilities that help you make it better. And then we're building predictive stuff, which is brand new to Connect right now, that allows you to actually understand what the customer is likely to want and what you should do to help them get it. And this can be something as simple as upsell, cross-sell stuff, which obviously some people care a lot about, but also just understanding what the customer is going to be about. Are they likely to want to cancel? Are they likely to want to do more? What should you be thinking about with that customer? An awesome area for us to build together and an awesome place for you to take advantage of this. And then finally, all of the outcomes that we're trying to deliver are things we want to get faster at delivering. If you think about what that's like, we want you to say, hey, every decision point, every aspect of what you do within Connect is being enhanced by AI, and you don't have to do any integration work. You don't have to do any work to try and get it, and you don't have to go negotiate new pricing because the pricing is just built into Connect's core price. You can use Connect's AI everywhere at one low price, and you don't have to do these cost-based trade-offs that have been killing you. So you get easy integration, easy implementation, and then you don't have to have an argument with procurement over getting access to it. You just use it and get great results. And so those are the key things to how we think about AI in the customer service. Last year on a stage a lot like this one with fewer chairs, I gave a talk and I told people how excited I was to see that 6 billion minutes had been processed in the previous year using Connect's AI. I thought that was awesome. Well, just a year later, now it's been 12 billion, so we've doubled the amount of AI usage in just a year, and this is not slowing down. Folks are getting real-world results with this, and that's the whole thing with it is it's great to talk about AI, and I'm sure sometimes you've been pressured to say, hey, what are you doing with AI? And your boss might be asking you, have you done anything with Gen AI this week? I think that the real answer, though, is what a customer is doing with the product, and that's why actually at this point I'd like to bring up one of our great customers, Priceline. So if you don't mind, I will welcome to the stage Sean Huberty. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Pasquale. At Priceline, we've been heavily leaned into AI for many years now. Brett Killer, our CEO, has been speaking about this frequently in the news. I'm not going to spend some time today talking about Penny, our agentic agent that might help you book a flight, might help you with a post-booking experience. Instead, I'm going to talk about some experiences where we're using AI to help our customers, our agents, and our business perform better. So let's talk about the telephony space and where we're using Amazon Connect. Live transcription is a service we've been using, and a fantastic example is, let's say a customer is calling in to book a flight or a hotel, and they say, I'm looking for a hotel, I'm looking for the Tulalip Inn in Puyallup, Washington. Well, we have sales agents that are overseas. English is probably a second language for them, and for them to try and understand and spell that correctly is a challenge. When we have live transcription that pops up on screen, the agent can see it instantly. It builds rapport with the customer, and it helps avoid frustrating customer questions like, can you repeat that? Can you spell that for me? Okay. There's fantastic technology coming in accent neutralization. And this is tuned to specific geographies and traditional accents that maybe some of our associates have. And so if it helps a customer understand our agents better, maybe it can deal with some noise cancellation. That's really cool and powerful technology that's out there that we're leaning into more and more. Call summarization is a place where we record the transcript, and at the end, we will summarize exactly what's going on for the customer. And I'll give you an example of that in a second. Smart dispositioning is a way to take that recording, to summarize exactly what's going on, and to avoid the agents having to choose drop-down scenarios where likely they just choose the top example anyways. It gives you far better insights and actionable data, and it makes it much more real time so you can search, you can understand exactly what emerging issues are happening with a far better level of fidelity. And then finally, the concept of guided workflows. If you can imagine a step-by-step solution that's built into your CRM where the agent knows, because the transcription is happening, exactly what the next best solution could be, and then it guides them into that scenario, and so they're getting the right answer at a far more frequent rate. Okay? So let's take a look at a typical agent summarization. So if you see the box in the middle right there, that's a real-life example of agent notes that they've drafted post-call. Okay? Now, maybe sometimes agents are doing this and they're trying to multitask while a call is happening. Maybe they're spending time after the call drafting these notes. You can see the real-life example on the right of what happens when we use automated call summarization. The clarity is far better. Imagine you're a follow-up agent that has to read and understand what's happening. Okay? It frees up that agent in a way that they can focus on the customer. They can build rapport. They can really listen to the situation that a customer is going through and have a far better level of empathy that's out there. And then finally, it's a huge benefit to Priceline. We save 50 seconds on average by implementing this solution. Those are real dollars to the bottom line. It's a far better agent experience and a far better customer experience. And so we're heavily leaning into this. Now, the trick is, how do you change agents' behavior? People have been recording and writing notes, and they've been doing it for years and years. We actually had to use some forced behavior change and actually limit the amount of after-call work time that was available just to get them to trust the AI and to see it in action. And in about a week, the behavior was changed, and we're realizing that benefit. Okay. Let's talk about the quality assurance revolution and what's happening. So today, if you go to a traditional contact center and you think about QA, agents receive about a 3% sample rate, so maybe they're going to get, 3 to 5 coachings in a regular week, if they're really lucky. What happens is a supervisor will take a recording of a call, they will review it, they will score it, they will eventually pass that back to the agent. The agent will have to review it. It's maybe a week later, so they may not remember exactly what's going on. They'll have to refamiliarize themselves. And then there's going to be a debate around the subjectivity of the content matter. Did I get the right solution? Did I get the wrong solution? Did I display empathy? And what happens is you tend to score things like, did the agent say, hello, my name is Sean, how can I help you today? Right? And those very binary tasks tend to be the basis of the scoring. Well, with AI solutions, you can create whatever questions you want to be scored on, and you can capture insights on 3 levels. So compliance, maybe you're a financial institution, and you have to read your license number at the beginning of every call. You'd ideally like to have 100% compliance in that type of scenario. Maybe it's process and procedure adherence to make sure you're getting the right solution. And then finally, it's a level of soft skill evaluation. Are you building rapport? Are you displaying empathy? Are you truly understanding what the customer is talking about? Well, by using AI, you get a far more unbiased, data-driven approach, and you can customize the level of questions that you're asking and the components that you're evaluating. We're not quite there yet, but imagine a time very soon where you want to go up to 100% coverage of all of your agent interactions. Maybe you want to provide real-time coaching, so you provide little micro-learning snippets to your agents 5 seconds, 2 seconds after a call, so they can see, these are the things that I could improve on. These are the things I did really well. Not all coaching is corrective, but a lot of it is positive reinforcement. And when you can provide that in the moment, it helps people get better, and you save all kinds of time about agents not having to review things or your traditional QA staff having to review things a week later. So I think there's an incredible amount of exciting things happening in this space that are going to change the way that QA happens, and it's going to change the jobs of QA. They're going to become far different coaches than they have been today, and it's just an exciting space that I'm looking forward to seeing the developments that are coming all across the industry. Okay. And I'm going to leave you with a final thought. I believe that AI is a tool that enhances human capabilities and compensates for human limitations. And together, if used well, you're going to elevate the experience for your customers, for your associates, and for your business. Thank you. Now, I would like to welcome Pasquale and Joe's back to the stage.
So one of the questions we get a lot has been about how we use these tools internally at Amazon, and specifically Amazon Connect. People are typically familiar. Any folks out there Amazon customers? Okay, well, thank you very much. We definitely appreciate it. One of the things I hope you've seen is that we strive to be the Earth's most customer-centric company. And in doing so, we knew we had to have great customer service. And so Connect is actually powering that customer service for Amazon.com. We call it Amazon CS. And of course, we have many more businesses than that, whether that be someone like Ring or Audible. Maybe you guys are using those as well. And we love to give great customer service there. We actually partner closely with those folks, as we do with our external customers. But when you think about it, we have 100,000 customer service agents at Amazon CS alone. And those folks are trying to deliver great outcomes for people like you every day. And so they're spending every waking hour thinking about how they can do better. And that creates a partnership that is incredible for us to go learn from with them. And so processing those millions of customer conversations every day, we've learned a tremendous amount that we then share. Now, we also learn from our external customers. We partner with them as well. But this is a very deep symbiotic relationship there. And it's what allowed us to move so quickly at first with Amazon Connect to deliver great value. And now every day what you see if you call in, hopefully, is you feel like someone who you'd want to be your friend is trying to help you, honestly, to get every aspect of your problem solved as fast as possible in a way that makes you feel great about it. We even do things like connect folks in Audible with agents who might read the same books. That way you might end up in a nice conversation in the middle of this thing that creates a different experience. These are the kind of things people do with Amazon Connect, and these are the kind of things we learn with Amazon.com and our other internal teams.
So let me switch that over to Quick and how teams are using Quick. So we launched Quick to Amazon internally a few months back. And what we've seen, the response has been tremendous. So we today have hundreds of thousands of users who are using Quick internally. We've had over 50,000 research reports created, over 300,000 flows run. And teams are using this for all sorts of domains. Whether you think about sales teams, account teams that are preparing for your meetings coming up using flows and research. You have finance teams that are partnering and using Quick in order to get briefings for their weekly business reviews. Supply chain teams that are digging into their systems using Quick, the list goes on. Over 40,000 agents were created for disparate purposes within the company, but all within Quick. So it's great to see this adoption and the numbers. Right? But one of the big questions that comes up as you think about this, and I'm sure this is the question on your mind, is what about safety, security, trust? So remember that both Quick and Connect are built on the same enterprise-grade security framework that AWS has, which means that your data stays your data. There are controls for encryption, permissions, for permissioning frameworks are respected. So a lot of this makes sure that you are able to deploy this in the ways you want, with your data being safe and your data being secure. I also mentioned context earlier. Pasquale mentioned the same thing. So connecting with your integrated systems, whether that is your CRM, whether that's your knowledge bases, your business analytics, your collaboration tools, all of that is available within both of these products. So with Quick, we are delivering better equipped employees.
And we're also with Connect delivering better customer outcomes. So if you don't mind, I'd love to leave you with 3 thoughts, if you only took away 3 things from today's talk. The first one is, we truly believe and are seeing proof that the future of work is AI plus human teammates working together to build a better environment for both and to create an incredible outcome for both you and your customers and your workforce. The next thing I'd like to say is, you can start today. The things you saw today are real. They're things you can actually do with your business right now. And the last thing I would say is, don't wait. Do it, pick something really good, some really good opportunity you have. Maybe it's a small workload, maybe it's something where you want to bite off a part of something, and just get going. You're going to see incredible results right off the bat, and the learnings you have right now will accelerate your outcomes moving forward going on. So at this point, I want to say that one of the reasons why I'm very confident in that is the folks who got up here today talked about their own lived experiences. You heard from 3M, BMW, AstraZeneca, and Priceline, and you saw they're making real results right now. Come on with us, and let's go do it together. We'd love to do it with you too. So thank you so much for having us.